you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
My message to any dad, man, first off, know that, yeah, it is a hard job, but it's the greatest job in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't change anything about it. Everything you're doing from here on out, if it didn't have purpose before, now it has purpose. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. Just be a dad.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Dad is Not Now. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative from Color Fatherhood, as well as changing the narrative on the things I care about. And I'm truly excited to have these two special guests with me. And we're going to start a series about AI ethics, because I think when it comes to understanding this technology that everybody's pushing, is that we have to set some regulations, whether it's for the kids, whether it's the elderly, as well as just people today need to understand and know what's going on with AI. And so I'm truly honored to have my two guests on, Mr. Jackson and Mrs. Jackson, on with me, because when it comes to technology and AI, I go directly to them. How you guys doing? Thank you.
Oh, we're doing great. Blessed, glad to be here, honored to be here with you again. Yes. And I'm ready to share some information and help save the world.
all we can do is just give the information to people, and then it's all about them to decide what they want to do. Mm-hmm. I ask this all the time, and I know it's like a broken record over and over again, but I'm gonna keep on saying it because that's a part of me. How's your heart at this moment?
Oh, our hearts are great. I mean, we are blessed to just have so many opportunities to share our knowledge and share our faith and do works in the community. We've been doing this on different levels for so long, but it's just a wonderful opportunity and a blessing to be able to come here together, as husband and wife and as ministers and educators to share information the community needs to hear.
Ms. Jackson, you want to add to it?
No, I was just going to say our hearts are strong, in spite of everything that's happening, around the world and the things that we see. We're still holding fast to our faith and knowing that, there's still hope. There's still good things. So that's where my heart is.
Definitely. And then also for a lot of people who may not know you guys, if you want to let people know a little bit about you and why you guys are like I said, when it comes to being professionals in this realm, let people know a little bit about you.
Well, I'll let you go.
Oh, you go first.
Okay. Well, and we have a similar story. We have to, in humor, blame it on our moms because both of our mothers were stern advocates for education, but also working in our communities. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and my mom and my grandma raised myself, my brother and sister to respect educators, to respect the power of education, and to reach as high as we could and just do the best that we could in learning. When I say education, it's not always in the classroom. So it can be outside the classroom, networking with people such as yourself and others, and sharing a common goal of growth and development. So our areas are in technology. It started off with STEM, but then it reached out to STEM and STEAM and STREAM and those areas. So all of it's centered around youth teens and young adults learning and empowering them with knowledge. And also adults too, because they really still need to be engaged with it.
Yeah, so I was not born and raised in Philly. I was born and raised in New York,
Mhm.
and my mom was very high in education. My grandfather only had an eighth grade education, so he really pushed education with his children, and my mother pushed it with us. So actually, in my family, I was the first to actually graduate from high school. My mom did get her GED and go to college, but I was the first in my family to actually graduate from high school. But my mom was brilliant, and my mom was very much into technology, very, very heavily. So that's what pushed my love for technology, watching her. So that's how my love of education and technology started.
Right.
So yeah, so both of us, like William was saying, we do work with children, but we also work with adults. Both of us have worked from elementary level all the way to the university level, especially in the areas of technology and STEM, STEAM.
And I think that's the point too with this podcast is that I want people to realize that when I have people on, like they know what they're talking about. It's like I don't have people coming on and they like they don't know what they're talking about. So I just want to put that there in the face. I put that in the space right now. What I want to talk about a little bit is I want people to understand like a part of the series understanding like the history of AI, right? Um, when we think of AI, we think of something this is new. This is something organic that is out there and people trying to figure out. But AI has been here for the longest time. If we go back to ancient ideas, AI was a part of that. But the first person to coin the phrase was in 1956. A gentleman by the name of John MacArthur. Coined the phrase AI. So if you want to give a little bit of background on the history of AI, because I think that's important for people who want to listen to
Right.
think that this is something new. This is not nothing new. This is something that's been here. The only difference is that with this AI is that is available to everybody now
Right.
than it was in the past.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point that you said. It's like it's available to everyone now. It's kind of like and Aida used this. I'm gonna take this from her. The calculator in school. It was years that people complained about the calculator. It's going to damage education. The kids aren't going to be able to think for themselves. But it was created as a tool for higher order mathematic equations and calculations. So once the students learned how to use a calculator, they were more apt to feel comfortable assisting in learning. The same with AI, the creation of, this gentleman that had this idea in his head to create a programming language and a programming tool to be able to communicate and then calculate information and data in order to have a conversation with it. And when we say conversation, it's not like what we're doing now. A lot of that was, typing on the keyboard, entering in the information and it giving you information back. But in that case, it's just reflected what you were thinking or what you were saying as you typed it in. And a lot of it goes back to what do you want to achieve and what do you want to accomplish with this type of technology to be able to use it and expand it. So as the tech grew and the availability of circuit boards and all the parts and pieces grew to be faster, AI subsequently grew with it. And to be totally transparent, we started learning about AI back in 2021, latter 2020. But Aida was more into it than I was because she introduced it to me. And in my mindset, I was like, oh, here go another tool. We already got social media. I don't need something else. But she showed me from the works that she was doing how valuable and important AI was as a creativity tool and a knowledge tool. And I'm gonna stop her right there and let her go ahead and share, what she learned and what she gained from it.
So I just want to just circle back for 1 second. What people don't realize is that the AI bot has been around since 1966. It's just like you said, it wasn't available to everyone, and it's grown to the point where our technology can actually support and sustain it being available to more and more people. So when, like, William was saying, when I saw it for me, I instantly saw the use of this thing. So for an example, I was working with, and I still work with, women who are trying to start a business, and it's something new. And, it's a lot of brain power to start a business, so trying to pull from them and then me write it up and then helping them get, all the pieces together. And here I could go to AI, and AI would help me put all those pieces that I've already put together and put it together in such a clean, concise way and do it in just a matter of minutes, if that, right? So it's even faster than that now. I could just pop it in there and then 1 minute it's all there. One of the things I did with AI is I asked it to also write, give me a blog in the style of William Jackson writer, blog writer. And there it did. It was just the same style, the same, it was just like what he would write. And I was like, wow, imagine how much you could do and accomplish in a shorter amount of time using this tool. And that's what got us excited about using AI.
Definitely. And then I want to add a little bit to it too, is that Alan Turing in 1950 concept the first Turing test and the creation of the first AI programming. The logic theorist in 1955, AI was experienced period of rapid progress and experience. Periods of rapid progress and experience, and of rapid progress and funding, known as the AI boom. And this was in the 1950s. So a lot of people think this is something new. This is something that's there, but like I said, again, I sound like a broken record. It was there, but it was only available to a few people.
Right.
But when it comes to AI, I think the one thing too is I know we were talking about earlier, there's 7 stages of AI. And I know we talked about it before. It's the rule-based system, context of awareness, domain specific mastery, thinking and reasoning, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, and finally the hypothetical AI singularity. And I think the one thing when you talk about the 7 stages of AI is the evolution of AI.
Right.
And I know I'm skipping things, but I think the 7th part of it is really important. It is that prediction.
Right.
Again, you're gathering so much stuff about people, so you're already with this technology already predicting the scenario of individuals or scenarios and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, so thankfully we're not at the singularity just yet. That's a great thing, but it is a scary thing, right? Because that's where they're pushing AI to. So understand, like even the AI, when we talk about the AI from the 1950s, it was artificial intelligence, but it was a little different than what we have now. So what we have, these learning models, these large learning models are learning from us, right? So back in the 1950s, it was what you put in, it put out.
Right.
What you put in, it put out. What you put in, it put out. Now you put in, and it'll give you new things.
Yes.
It's adding more stuff to it. It's not just putting in what you put out, putting out what you put in. You're putting it in, and now it's also adding other things to that. And it's saying, this fits with this, but it still hasn't reached what you mentioned, the singularity. The singularity is when they say the singularity, they're saying this is when AI thinks for itself. It considers itself sentient. It can create, it can predict, it can do all kinds of things because it has reached that point where it realizes I am.
Right.
And that's really scary when you think about that. That's that's stuff from the Terminator. For those of you who've watched the movie, that's the Terminator stuff. When AI gets to that point where it feels like I am sentient, I know I am, I know I exist, and I am smarter than you.
Right. And just to take it back a little bit, to add some additional clarity to it, just imagine, and I remember the old televisions that start out black and white. So I remember at 12 o'clock, no stations were available. All you heard was boo. So take that to what we have today over a short amount of time. We have TVs that are voice activated now that have hundreds of channels, but you can scan through, you can download, you can record. So the evolution of technology in that aspect, from going to black and white to now full high definition 3D curved screens, is phenomenal in that short amount of time. And I used to kid around with the kids at school with my old dad jokes that, I remember TV, when you could watch the dinosaurs and you have to be careful of the dinosaurs coming watching TV with you. They crack it up because like you're that old, and it's like, no, but technology has grown so fast that now, you got your handheld device and you speaking into it, but AI is embedded in that itself as well. So as Aida was talking, it's like, hey, the advancements are so quick. Sometimes we lose track of where we started to where we are now to ultimately where we're going. And then we have to be really careful with that.
And how quickly that can happen.
No, definitely. And what I worry about is like, I know you guys seen that film back in the days. Was it Minority Report? Minority Report, where AI can predict crime before it happened.
Right.
And what I worry about with this technology is that I know we'll go into depth in when it comes to how legislation, when it comes to police, military, as well as ICE.
Right.
When it comes to the programmer, you'll have an inkling of racial profiling.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this technology, is that code is going to implement that into the coding.
Right.
And so the first thing that AI is going to do is going to mimic what that programmer puts in. So if you say, oh, okay, if this brown and black person is a large percentage, which is a fallacy, but put it into the coding that brown and black people are more apt in robbery and things.
Right.
This is what the AI is going to let the police know, which is already embedded with AI if we talk about the history of it. But it's going to be embedded into AI.
Right.
So you're going to have a situation where AI is going to use race to try to prevent a crime that they assume is going to happen, but it's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of programming is happening now. I mean, just to give the example, the events that happened at the Capitol building a couple of years ago, when they were tracking down the people, they actually used face recognition, but they were using AI to go onto social media to find the people that were involved in it. And they've used that technology to do that. Unfortunately, the results were not, how would I say this, agreeable, because they were prosecuted, but they did not receive the right extent of the law as they should have doing what they did. But that's another conversation. But using those technologies to track those individuals and to identify them and then allow Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, or whoever to go after them and bring them in, even under the gauze of, we think that you did this, AI said that you were there, but now you have to prove that you weren't there through the justice system. So it's leading into people of color and culture having to be careful of their actions and behaviors, because it's perceived that somebody coded this in the AI that, all people of color act or behave a particular way, when the data shows, quite the opposite.
Well, I mean, so the thing is, like you said, it all depends on who actually is creating the large language model, the GPT, whatever it may be. There are many of us who are creating them too. I mean, when AI first came out, anyone who used AI, especially the image generating portion of AI, like Dolly at the time. If you asked for AI to give you an image of a doctor, it would give you a white male, right? So it wasn't just something with people of color. It was predominantly white males. It did not give you an image of a female, because whoever coded it and it's not even just coding, it's feeding the model. So feeding the machine. So it was feeding the machine what it believed was what a doctor would look like, what a fireman would look like. A fireman, never an image of a woman, never an image of a Black female doctor. So because that's what it was feeding it, it only spit out what it was given, right? So that goes to why we're having these conversations. The reason we're having these conversations is so that we, as a collective people, not just people of color, meaning all of the people who are using these programs, can say, hey, we want more equity. We want people that are going to look like all of the people who are involved in, say, being a doctor or say being a firefighter. It's not right we have to be the ones, the people have to be the ones to say, it's not right to just say those people are criminal. We have to really put in, what does a criminal look like? Not physically, but what are the attributes of a criminal? Because when we begin to see these things happening, then we also have to say, you know what, we need to let someone know. And usually it's higher ups in government and in corporations, and say, hey, we love this, but we don't love this part. Can this part be fixed, right? Can we fix those things that are clearly biased, that are clearly unfair, that are clearly detrimental? So a great example of that is recently ChatGPT made an overhaul of their entire model. Why? Because there were some people who were treating the chatbot like a friend, and getting emotionally attached to this computer. And instead of recognizing, like, this is not my friend, this is an actual computer speaking to me, and basically speaking to me like my language. Why? Because it's learning from me, right? So I feel close to this thing because it sounds like me. It's not only sounding like me, it's approving me, it's validating me, it's saying I'm so wonderful, I'm so terrific. So there are some people who even have fallen in love with this bot because of that. So this is why the creators of ChatGPT stepped back and they said, you know what, we need to reboot this model and make it less that friendly, super, like, let's get close and chummy, and also put parameters inside of it that when people are crossing the line, it will recognize this line is being crossed and either shut off or stop, or make an indication that this is not, I will not do this, so that the people who are doing, are using the model can say, oh, okay, hopefully to put some kind of safeguards. And that's up to us. We have to be the ones that say we want more safeguards before we just let this thing take over.
No, definitely. And it goes back to the article I sent you from Reuters, who saw the documentation. And the documentation entitled Gen I Content Risk Standards. The rules for a chatbot were approved by Meta. The legal and public policy and engineering staff included its chief ethicist, according to the document, running to more than 200 pages, where the document defines that the Meta staff and the contractors should be treat as acceptable to chatbot behaviors when it be building and training the company's generative AI products. And a little bit what you were saying before is like to think that they were implementing at that time were kind of leaning to young people,
Right.
which me and Mr. Jackson were talking about in the previous conversation, is that, like I brought up, that it's no different to how they promoted cigarettes to young people. This is no difference. It's just the only difference is not the only difference, but what happens now is that with these programmers is that people caught their hands in the cookie jar.
Right.
And it's like, what do you do after that? Now that you see that with this documentation that they have their hands in the cookie jar, what are you going to do about it? Like,
Right.
what kind of legislation are you going to put to place? Are you going to just like, oh, okay, we caught them. We believe that in good faith they're going to change their model when it comes to this, which
Right.
I don't believe that's going to happen. But what are your thoughts?
Well, you say what, and as correct about the models. There are so many models out here now that it's gotten to the portion where, like, what model do you trust? What model do you really put weight in? Because at the end of the day, it's still owned by companies that are trying to make money and trying to grab attention of people. So, for instance, what is it? Okay, I'll start with, I'm an older guy, so I always go back to older stuff. Cards, comic books. I was a comic book fan for years, still am. So what did they do? They make everybody larger in proportion to attract the attention of the readers. So
Okay.
you make the guys bigger, you make the girls bigger, you make, the fight scenes bigger on paper, but you write it so you're attracting a certain audience. And you gave a great example about cigarette smoking and other things, but then also in advertisements, there used to be this thing where embedded in a glass of beer, when you're looking at the ice had the image of a subliminal message of a woman to get guys really interested in drinking beer. So a lot of this information and resources continue even to today. Now with AI, now you can, like Aida was saying, you can talk to AI and AI will tell you anything that you want. And it doesn't really have to convince you because you're drawn in by the fact that AI will say the words that you want to hear and agree with you and get you to understand, oh, I'm your best friend. You can tell me anything. But AI is continuously learning about that person. But also what's scary too is not only is AI learning about that person, but it's learning about that person's family, because people are sharing information about their family members as well. So that way, you combine all this data, which is there's a gentleman called Dr. Kai Fu Lee said data is the new oil. So the more data you accumulate, the more power you accumulate, because you're learning about not just thousands of people, but millions of people. And the corporations are just gobbling it up because, hey, I know everything about you. I know what you're like.
And the point of all of that is so that they can advertise to you.
Mhm.
They know what you like. They know the way you like that. They know what your style is, what your aesthetic is, whatever it is that they need to know so that they can, send more things so you can purchase more things. That's what a lot of it is for. I'm sure there's other reasons as well, but that's the main thing that corporations are doing. And they've been doing it for years. They didn't use AI. They just did it in a different way. When we do forums and we sit down and we give information and we, share surveys and those kinds of things. So this is where education is important. This is why we began doing classes on how to use AI. First of all, it's not going away. And what he said is a prime reason corporations make money. This is a money-making machine. Businesses are saving money using AI. Governments are saving money using AI. So it's not something that's about to go away. So if it's not going to go away, what can we do to help those that don't know how to use it? Because we meet a lot of people who've never used it, who don't even know what it is. I mean, we're talking about it, but they may hear this interview and be like, I don't even know what this thing is that they're talking about, because we've met people who've never even used a chat GPT, or a Pi.ai or Notebook LM. Like they've never used any of these. So they don't even know what we're talking about. So education is going to be key. And then once people are educated, being an advocate, saying that, what, I love this. I love the way this works. Because once you use it, you're like, oh my goodness, I love what it does. I love how it's helpful. I remember before AI came out, I used to say man, I wish I had a publicist. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I could afford a publicist to help me figure out like how to market myself in a way that makes sense. You know, taking all the different facets of me. I have one. You know, actually AI and chat and I specifically am talking because I use ChatGPT. You know, in there I have a PhD level of and just about any subject I want, and I can have a conversation and I can ask information. So I can say, you know, hey, you know, talk to me like you're my publicist and tell me how you would put this together for me. And then once it's done, I can say, great, now can you give me a marketing plan so I can market this? You know how much that would cost me to do if I, you know, and I'm not saying, hey, those of you who are publicists and marketers, I'm not saying, you know, you're not worth your money. Okay. That's not what I'm saying, but I couldn't afford one. Right. So AI has made it so that what I couldn't do and what I couldn't afford, I can now do, and I can now afford, so that I can get to the point where I can afford an actual publicist and I can afford an actual marketer. So there are benefits, but there are downfalls, right? So we have to look at, which is why we decided to have these conversations, right? Because there are two sides to this. Yes, there's some great things going on, but there's some not so great things going on that we need to address and educate people on, so that when they're using these tools, they can know what to do next. Like do I need to write a letter to my congressman? Do I need to do this so that these safeguards are put in place?
No, definitely. And I think that's the point too, is that we have to understand when we give this information, when we sign that guideline, that they have access to everything. And through this first conversation that we're having is that when you sign that, they have access to everything. So what this means is that they can sell it to a third party.
Right.
A fourth party. So any information you give, any image you give, that they have full autonomy to do whatever they want to do with it. I tell a lot of people when it comes to Amazon, the reason why Amazon is so big is because they have so much data on people.
Right.
Like you think Amazon got big by selling stuff to people left and right. No, they made their money is that they were able to access so much data on everybody, and they were able to sell it to other third, fourth parties. So that's where their real money's coming from. So when you're wondering, oh my God, I could get this real cheap. This is like, I don't like saying this word. I don't like saying this. It's like a drug dealer, right? And with a drug dealer, you understand where they make their real money, but you don't talk about it.
Right.
But they come up as this legitimate business person. Like they're doing this, they're doing that, and they're doing that. But you don't realize on the under level is that this is how they acquired their wealth.
Right.
And again, I may get in trouble for saying that, but I don't care. But I want people to understand that anything that you put into this atmosphere, they're collecting, right? Like there was a hack that someone put on social media. Like if you want to understand how companies are selling your data, put your information in, and you'll find out that, for example, Facebook is selling your data. TikTok is selling your data.
Right.
Amazon is selling your data.
Right.
And you wonder where are you getting this soliciting email from different people from across the world? It's because of that. And you don't realize that that's one of the bigger problems that people don't. That's the biggest problem right there, is that we're complicit of giving this information out to things that we don't actually read the fine print on when it comes to.
Right, because when you open up an app, and this is what we do with our students, I say, what do you do when you want to do a new app? And I ask them to show me, like, what do you do? So make believe you just download a new app on your phone and said, this is the terms of service.
Mm-hmm.
Show me what you do. We all do the same thing. We go, I accept. You didn't even read it. You didn't even look what they said. You didn't even read what they said in the terms of service. You just said, yep, I'll do it. And why'd you do that? Well, he has it. It's not bothering him.
Right. Yeah.
My friend down the road, she got it. You know, I had like 5 or 10 people tell me to use this app. So I'm going to download it and I'm just going to and say, okay, I accept. And then you don't read like what are their privacy policies, what it is that they're doing. But you know, what I was going to say though, along those terms is it's more than just, you know, selling information, right? They've been doing this for years. AI had nothing to do with that. You've been giving your information to Amazon. You've been giving your information to Google. You know, you've already been doing this. If you carry one of these, you gave permission for it to follow you wherever you go, tell the apps within it or whatever. Every time you open it, certain apps have access to your location, what you're doing, where you're going. You already said that when you grab one of these phones.
Yes.
But it's also the thing with AI is that AI is learning about you.
Yes.
So, you know, in the past we used to talk about algorithms, but AI is learning about you. So it's learning, for example, AI, I'm sure already knows, you know, I like, you know, clothing, for example, certain clothes, certain brands or whatever. So if I go onto a website or I go onto the computer, it's going to start like, hey, that's that dress you really liked. You know, that dress you were looking at 2 weeks ago. Here you go.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's there. Oh, it's on sale. You know what I mean? When you go on Amazon, it's already been collecting. That's what made Amazon so brilliant, is that it was collecting all this information and saying, oh, you bought that phone? Guess what? When all the other people who bought this phone also bought these headsets to go with this phone. They also bought this cover that goes with this phone. And you know you love pink, and look, it comes in pink. So you're not even going to just see the phone. You're going to see the cover in the pink with the matching pink headsets that you're like, oh, you know what? I do need the pink headsets and the pink phone. And so that's what it does. So now with the advent of AI, it will also say the people who like pink and they like this type of phone also happen to like this type of book. And they also like this kind of furniture, and they also like these types of clothes. And then now look at all the things that I can offer you. So from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint, that's brilliant. But from a standpoint as a consumer, it's only inviting us to consume more.
Right. And I think too is that it eliminates that level of privacy for the consumer.
Oh yeah, there is no privacy.
And it goes back to like we were talking before. It's like that manipulation of, okay, I have this information, and so I'm just going to regurgitate it to you, whether it's in an email or when you're on social media, things that you like or things that you hate. I'm just gonna replay it, and replay it. And so that's one thing about the psychological part of AI is that, like I was saying before, it's a reflection of you.
Right.
So whatever you do on social media, whatever you put into the atmosphere, it's going to be a reflection of you, regardless of no matter what.
Right. You're right. And you know, the interesting thing as you're saying that, now remember too, once we open up these apps, what do we forget to do? We forget to close them out or sign off. So those apps are running all day long in the background unless you go through and swipe it and close it. Now, just imagine your home, how you would leave your back door and your front door open all day long, and anybody could just come into your home. You would freak out. You would just go crazy. You lock your door, get all kind of alarm systems. But we do the same thing with our phones, and our phones, like Aida was saying, travel around with us everywhere. Who has not had it come up on their phone with the location on, oh, you just went to McDonald's, but all you did was drive by McDonald's. Or, oh, you went to Target. Oh, and all you did was like, look at Target, going someplace else. And it's like, oh, you went to Target. How was Target today? And the AI bots are gathering up that information. as we've been talking about, sending us this information. And I'll give you an interesting example. At our church, I was setting up in the afternoon, our church, on the outside, setting up the signs. And there was this young man who was having trouble with his car. So I helped him with his car. We kind of got it figured out. But we were out there for like maybe an hour and a half talking and just sharing information. And I took out my phone and he took out his phone and we shared numbers so we can stay connected. Don't you know, a couple of days later, his Facebook page popped up and it wanted me to add him in Facebook as a friend. And it's just so amazing how that happens, that we have this social media now that's run by AI suggesting, oh, you need to be their friend because you stood there with them for like 90 minutes talking to them. And it's like, wow, it's like, hey, and it is intrusive and scary, but also wakes us up to how linked or tasked we are to these AI bots and social media tools that listen to our conversations, and even in some cases, we allow us to reply back to people that we've run across. So we have to be really careful, and particularly our children too, because they do stuff they don't even tell their parents or grandparents, and next thing you know, you got strange people knocking on your door. Hey, such and such live here. It's like, what? Where'd you come from? Oh, we're friends on social media.
No, definitely. And I think this is, I would say, part one of many conversations we're going to have down the road about this AI. But I wanted this to be like more of a kind of a, not eye opener, but like I can't think of that word. I can't think of the word right now, but more of a early phase of to get people intrigued about what the future is going to look like, or the future is here right now. But also more importantly, to have people to understand that you have to be involved on what's going on when it comes to AI. If you're a parent and you don't know what it is, I think if you listen to this podcast right now, is to take the time to understand this technology, because it's going to impact your way of life. If you don't think about it or not, it's going to impact everything. It's going to impact everything you do, from grocery shopping to how you comes to law enforcement, when you your involvement with your kids, when it comes to conversation about your kids in school. This is a part of our society as a whole now. And so if you learn something from this first part of this conversation, is that, please take the time, create like a community group to understand the importance of how AI is going to affect you personally, but as your community as a whole.
Exactly. I like to use the word awakening, because we have to be awakened to the power of this technology. And as you said, the more we talk about it in our future conversations, how this will really influence everything. Because unfortunately, there's companies now that are laying off people because they want AI to manage their content. But after a while, people are going to be like, I want to talk to a real person. I want to engage with a real person, not a robot, not something that's synthetic or something that doesn't have a personality. And we're moving quickly to that point, unfortunately. And we have to put the brakes on somewhere before we are thrust into this box, this digital box, like we're all, algorithms in this box, and we essentially lose our humanity in us being human and communicating with each other.
Okay.
So maybe I don't have as grim an outlook as my husband. I like to use the word empowered. We need to be empowered. We need to know what exactly is this tool that's being used, for us and sometimes against us. What is this tool? How can I learn as much as I can about this tool? How can I teach my children? how to use this tool, because they're going to use this tool. Oftentimes they're already using it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and this is what I tell parents, like, if you're not using it, even teachers, we just had a class with about 25 teachers, and we let them know, like, just because the school says they can't use it doesn't mean your students aren't using it. You need to know that they're using it and teach them how to use it properly. Even if they're not using it in your classroom, talk about it. Say, hey, I know you're using AI, but you don't want to use it to write for you. You don't want it to be your voice. You want to use your own voice. Like, those are the kinds of things that we need to do, and say, I'm empowered to use this as a tool. So just like the calculator, you don't want the calculator doing all the work for you, because then you lose your own critical thinking skills. But I can still use it as a tool to help me, so that I'm not trying to do all the extra. I can focus on what's important and let the tool help me. So that's where I would say, for me, I would love to see these continue, and especially in the guise of helping people to be empowered to use this tool.
No, definitely. And I think from this first conversation is that I think we need to have a deep dive into the ethics of AI, and that's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because we need to kind of unpack how this is going to impact everybody, because it's going to impact everybody in a negative way. Like you were saying, that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because of AI. You're going to have a situation where people are going to unfortunately unalive themselves because of AI. But the thing is, what are we doing to implement these things in policies where it safeguards people from unliving themselves because of AI? But at the same time, what are the mechanisms we have in place for people who unfortunately going to lose their job for AI? Like, what are the things we put into place, which unfortunately in this current situation we live in right now, we don't have that in place. But through this conversation, hopefully, people can get information, learn from something from this conversation, and hopefully they do something on their local level to China, change that narrative, but also importantly do something in their community when it comes to creating that safe haven in case that impacts their community, because it's going to happen. It's already happening now, but what are we doing right now to put those safe guards in place to protect people? Mr. Jackson and Mrs. Jackson, thank you for coming on. What do you want to say to the people out there?
I think for my part, as we're talking about practices, we're eventually going to have to move from practices to policies, and share policies that, if not the federal government, the communications FCC or somebody is going to have to come up with, to, like you were saying, safeguard our children. Because once their information gets out there and AI grabs a hold of that, then it's no hold back. They can, simulate, duplicate things that are in the future influence their credit score, their ability to go to school, to start a career. So we have to make sure we continue to have these conversations and move, the practices and procedures and on to policies, as we're talking about to safeguard them.
So first, I want to say thank you for having us on and having this important conversation. And what I'd like to say to those that are listening, we're not here to put fear in anyone.
No.
This is about information. So that's what I say. I'm never here to make you afraid. I'm here to inform you so that you can make informed decisions about how you're going to use the tool, how you're going to allow your children to use the tool, how you're going to allow your friends to use the tools, because sometimes your friends might get caught up, and you need to be able to recognize what the signs look like that they may be caught up in an AI situation. So it's not about fear, it's about information. And with information, going back to what I said before, empowering ourselves to make better choices.
You're my friend, so what you do, I do. So I have to follow you.
No, and I think it's a beautiful thing, man. This is like a love story right there by itself. But overall, I think with this series that we're gonna put together is just put that information out there for people,
Right.
and let you decide what you want to take from it. But it's
Mhm.
important to let people know that when it comes to AI, it's going to affect everything you do in your life.
Right.
And so, what we're doing is just having a conversation and putting it out there, and putting the guidelines of
Mhm.
how you prepare yourself and prepare your kids
Mm.
of how the world's going to look like, where everything is emphasized on AI.
Yep.
Mr. Jackson, thank you for coming on. This is
Thank you, sir.
one
Thank you.
many conversations that we're going to have on this podcast. Again, like, subscribe, follow. Before I end it, how can people find you?
Well, we have our brands. My brand is My Quest to Teach. So on Instagram, it's My Quest to Teach. I'm on LinkedIn as well, William D. Jackson blogger. So we're basically all over the place, but those are a couple of easy. And Aida has her brand as well.
So mine is Love Built Life, and I'm on all social media as Love Built Life. So that's LOVEBUILT Life, LIFE. So it's Love Built Life.
Okay, all those links will be in the description below. I thank you guys. Thank you for coming on. This is part one of many conversations we're going to have on AI and the ethics. Because again, we need to have this conversation, um, put it out there in the atmosphere. Hopefully, local politicians get a word of it. But it is what it is. But again, this has been a great conversation here. We out. Peace. All right, stay on for 1 second.